Hello, 6th grade. This week I'd like to start by taking a step back, well, literally and figuratively, a step back talking about just some very basic things about reading music. And in just a few short minutes, I'm going to be performing a rap for you. Yes, rap. Hard to believe, scary but true. And by the end of class, we'll be back to talking about the 12-bar blues. So what direction are we headed? Well, I don't know exactly, but one thing I'm trying to be mindful of this year is remaining optimistic, hopeful, that at some point, sooner rather than later, we will all get to see each other here back at school. And when that happens, 6th grade plays chimes. So I'm trying to work towards that as one of my goals. All right, so that has to do with reading music, right? Now, when you see a new piece of music, there's a whole level of reactions from the most basic beginner, where you open up the piece of music and you look at it, you're like, none of it makes sense, right? To the most expert level, where you open it up and you say, yep, I can hear the whole thing in my head, right? Well, most of us, myself included, are somewhere in that middle range, right? Between complete beginner and perfect expert. So, all right, let's look at a piece of music that most of you have seen before. All right, right out of our All God's People Sing books, which we've used many, many times in chapel, we've got a song. Most of you have seen this before. I am a C. I'll just do it once quickly. I am a C. I am a C-H. I am a C-H-R-I-S-E-I-N. And I have C-H-R-I-S-E-N-Y-H-E-R-T-N-I-L-L-I-V-E-T-E-R-N-L-L-Y. Amen. The quick version. All right. So even in a piece of music like that, there's a lot going on, believe it or not. We've got a treble clef, a key signature, time signature, fermatas, quarter notes, quarter rests, eighth notes. My goodness, the first ending and the second ending. We have whole notes, chord symbols. My gosh, there's a lot of stuff, right? So let's strip all of that away for now. Here's our step backwards. Okay. Well, that's better. All right. Let's just talk about the staff. Now, most of you know this, it's just a review, but the staff is designed after the human hand, right? The typical human hand has 5 fingers, just in case that's new for you. Right, now I know there are some people who are born missing fingers or with extra fingers. Sometimes people lose fingers through accidents, but we're talking about the typical human hand anywhere on the planet. If you took your hand and just went like this, if you imagine you had claws or pencils at the end of each finger and you went, right, you would make a staff. You could even try that at the beach sometime. All right, so each staff has 5 lines, right, one for each finger, and of course, obviously between each line, you would have 4 spaces. So that's the basics. On this staff, we've got the treble clef. All right, now I'm sure you've all seen these before. In fact, it's right there on the cover of the book I was just talking about. So treble means high. That's why you see it so much. Any melody or tune is pretty much going to use one of these. So let's talk about it. Some people call it the G clef. Right? Now, why is that? Well, several reasons. If you use your imagination, you can kind of see the letter G in here, right? It kind of looks like G a little bit, right? And also, it's showing you exactly where the G line is. If you've ever seen the crosshairs of a sniper scope or a target, if I draw that right around G, right, that's kind of what it's showing you. You know, it looks a little different, the symbol, but that's basically showing you G is that second line right there. So now let's talk about how to draw the treble clef. Since you're at home, you can make your own manuscript paper. That's what we call this stuff, the music paper that has 5 lines. You might happen to have manuscript paper at home. Probably not. If not, you can either use a ruler to make 5 parallel lines, or you can even freehand draw it, though it could be a little bit messy. Or I'm sure there's a computer program somewhere that you can make 5 parallel lines equally spaced. In any case, that's what you need for the staff. So here we go. Step 1, we make the letter J. Now notice the top of the J goes up a little bit above the staff. And then for crossing down, it's like making the letter D, right? And it crosses, this is kind of interesting. You're making the letter D, and this line here is actually D. More on that later, right? E, G, B, D, F. So remember, you're crossing at the D line, kind of a cool coincidence. All right, then you continue. Something like that. Let me do that again a few times. It gets easier the more times you do it. All right. So here we go. You can either go like crossing at the D line, or if you like and you want to be faster, you can also do it in one stroke, like that. It's about the same thing. Now that one was a little bit messy. It's okay, as long as it looks sort of like the treble clef. Here, I'll do a very fast, messy one. You know, you still can tell I mean the treble clef, although that's how the messy, fast composers do it. Let me do it neatly. All right. Anyway, so that's our treble clef. Now let's talk about some of the other note names. Okay, here we have it, our treble clef. There it is, supersized. And now the word clef means basically like a key, like the answer key or a clue. And remember, the clue is showing you the crosshairs are right there on that G line. The second line up is a G. Oh, we're just about there. All right, so here's the trick for the 5 lines, bottom to top. The bottom line in the treble clef is always an E, right? E. The second line up is always a G. There it is, crosshairs, right? The G clef. Middle line is always a B. The fourth line up is always a D. Remember, we had a little secret D ending on that D line. And the top line is always an F. Now it's time for the rap. Here we go, the treble clef rap. All you have to do is repeat after me. I said E, G, B, D, F. These are the names of the treble clef. Every good bird does fly. These are the lines from low to high. Let's do it again. I said E, G, B, D, F. These are the lines of the treble clef. I said every good bird does fly. These are the lines from low to high. So there we have it. It's kind of fun, kind of silly, hopefully kind of catchy in your ear, but that's a good way to remember the names of the lines. What about the spaces? For the space notes, it's super easy. All you have to do is remember a word, right? Because the first space is F, then that's an A, that's a C, and that's an E. So you ready for the shortest rap in the world? Here we are. Ready? Here I go. The spaces spell face. I said the spaces spell face. The spaces spell face. One more time, the spaces spell face. Good. Well, that's all the rapping I'm going to do today. So, all right. Now, just to be perfectly clear, a space note in music, we think of it as taking up the space in between the lines. So just to review, we've got lines. You can see there is a line stabbing through that note head, right? That's what we mean by being on a line. It's like stabbing right through there. Space notes are in between the lines. So anyway, that's our treble clef review. I did say we were getting back to the 12-bar blues today, right? Yes, now it's time for that. So I have a video for you to watch. It's called All About the Blues. So now it's got some information in there. We'll talk more about it later. Now it's only 3 minutes. So although the video is all about the blues. It doesn't tell you everything that you could possibly know about the blues.
All about the blues. The blues appeared in the late 1800s in the southern USA. The blues used elements of African American work songs and spirituals. Blues songs were often sad and melancholy. Instruments used in the blues include guitar, piano, harmonica, bass, and drums. By the 1920s, blues music was part of the popular American music scene. Blues music had a major influence on early rock and roll. Blues melodies used a minor blues scale to create a sad mood. Major scale. Minor blues scale. If you have a keyboard at home, try playing these scales. The 12-bar blues uses chords built on the first, the fourth, and the fifth notes of the major scale. Each chord is played for 4 beats. If you have a keyboard at home, try playing those chords. Blues is almost always lyric and voice driven. The instruments provide a rhythm and answers to the call and response nature of blues. The lyrics of many 12-bar blues follow the same pattern. The following is an excerpt of the famous blues song, The St. Louis Blues, made popular by many famous musicians like Louis Armstrong and Bessie Smith. It was first written and recorded in the early 1920s. This is accompanied by a New Orleans-style blues piano pattern. Feeling tomorrow like I feel today. If I'm feeling tomorrow like I feel today, I'll pack my truck and make my getaway. Popular blues artists include B.B. King, Muddy Waters, W.C. Handy, John Lee Hooker, Mamie Smith, Gus Cannon, Ma Rainey, Leadbelly, Big Bill Broonzy, T-Bone Walker, Mississippi John Hurt, Reverend Gary Harris, Tommy Johnson, Sonny Boy Williamson, Eric Clapton, Howlin' Wolf, and many more. Some of the great blues pianists include Dr. John, Pinetop Perkins, Fats Domino, and Ray Charles.
So let's talk about some of the information in that video. I'm going in no particular order. Let's just talk about the scale. Right? You've all heard that before, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Or if we're using numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 is basically the same as 1. Do, do. Right? So that's not very bluesy, right, by itself. Now here's the blues scale. 1, instead of 3, that little B is a flat sign. More about that later. So flat 3, already that sounds different, right? 1, flat 3, 4 is the same. Instead of going right to 5, we have flat 5. That sounds bluesy, right? And then 5, and then instead of regular 17, no, it's flat 7. So here's our blues scale, and 8 is really 1. All right, so we've got 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, 8. Now I'm going to show you on the piano. Okay, I wanted to show you on the actual piano. This is the key they did in the videos. That's why I'm using this. So here's the regular scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The blues scale. 1, flat 3, right? That's the bluesy note. Flat 5 and 5. Instead of regular 7, it's flat 7, 8, 1. So that's the blues scale in G on the piano. So if we sing those blue flat notes, you don't even need to change chords. You know it's the blues right away, right? If I sing flat 3, oh, you hear it, right? If I go to flat 5, or up to flat 7, maybe back to flat 5, flat 3. Yeah, so that's the blues right there. All right, what else in the video is important? Oh yes, the popular. Yes, it's super popular, as you know, the blues. Without the blues, there would be no jazz, there would be no rock and roll. These are all things the blues influence. Jazz, rock and roll. There would be no hip hop and rap. There would be basically all the pop music that's on the radio today would not be around without the blues. It's that important. What else? Let's talk about, oh, the lyrics are very important. Yeah, and actually you're going to be coming up with your own lyrics in just a second. Yeah, often the lyrics talk about tough times, troubles, you know, things we're going through like we have right now with the coronavirus. So, all right. The form of the lyrics, yeah, there's always 3 lines each time through the blues. So I'm going to use sign language for part A. Now we're not talking about note names, we're just talking about the form. So line A is always one thing, right? The second line is usually pretty similar to A. There might be a few words that are different, but it's basically the same thing twice. The third line, which is B, is something different. It usually reflects back to what you just heard in AA. It's always followed by the B at the end. So AAB is the form of the lyrics. Now I'd like you to listen to a blues about something that I'm sure gives you the blues because it gave me the blues back when I was in school. Homework.
Homework, homework, I've got the homework blues. Homework, homework, I've got the homework blues. I've got a pile about 10 feet high. I've got the homework blues.
So you might have just been listening, kind of getting into it, feeling it, and saying, yeah, yo, I got the homework blues too. If you were really paying attention to the form of it, you would have noticed that that first line of words or music had one set of words, right? The second line had the same exact set of words, right? And that last line, B, had something different, right? So something, the same thing again, and then something different. That's basically what the blues is about. And the 12-bar part comes in. Here's the quick math. The first line A is 4 measures or 4 bars. The second line, 4 more bars, 4 more measures. And then part B is the last 4. So 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 4 times 3 is 12. Anyway, don't worry about that for right now. You probably saw at the end there was a card that flashed quickly that had some suggestions for things you can use to come up with blues lyrics. I think it says things like having a bad haircut, maybe the babysitting blues, the video game blues, cool clothes. Maybe you feel like your clothes aren't cool enough. If you have clothes, that's actually the most important thing. You can come up with your own, maybe not have enough money. There's all kinds of things. Feeling sad. I'm going to do the video game blues. Now I'm going to do an old video game from back when I was in 6th grade. Pac-Man. Yes, here I am. I'm going to do the Pac-Man blues. So I'm going to think it was a big old machine, and you would put in a quarter. So I need something with rhymes with quarter. I'm imagining a machine that's out of order. All right, here I go. Pac-Man blues. All right, little intro. Here we go. Oh, I'm so mad at Mr. Pac-Man. He just took my last quarter. Oh, yeah. I'm so mad at Mr. Pac-Man. He took away my last quarter. I kept pushing the coin return button, but this machine is out of order. So did you hear that? AAB? Even though it's Pac-Man, it's kind of funny. Still the blues. Let's do another verse. Listen for that AAB. In Pac-Man, you gobble up ghosts. So this one's going to be something about gobbling the ghosts. Ready? All right, here's the intro. I just wanted to play the game, running around, gobbling up ghosts. That's right. I just wanted to play one last game, running around, gobbling up those ghosts. But oh no, I can't do that right now, 'cause the microchips are toast. So there it is. And when I sing the blues, I'm not thinking of any particular melody. I'm just kind of singing what comes out. If I did the same blues with the same words, I would be singing slightly different notes each time. So that's kind of what the blues is. Anyway, so I'll put the backing track on for you. You can either rewind it or keep going, whatever you want. Make up your own set of blues about whatever you want. Sing along. As long as it's got that AAB form in the lyrics, you can't go wrong. All right. Good luck. I'll see you next time.